Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up with Rhinebeck. Wake up, wake up, wake up with Rhinebeck Bank. Woohoo! I'm Michelle Barone.
And I'm Mark Malone.
And it's time to wake up with Rhinebeck Bank.
And what a great Monday morning it is today, Michelle.
The air is fresh and crisp, and we're here ready to start the show.
And we have a great guest with us here today that's going to talk a little bit about our finances and how to plan for your future. And you know, this weekend I was online and I was trying to dig up some information. And interestingly enough, there was a million different opinions about one topic. And I think for many of us, it's hard to funnel through what's good information and what's bad information, which is why it's so important to work with somebody.
Yeah, personal touch is the best, and getting educated is something you absolutely need. So the person here with us today is Frank Dwyer, president of Rhinebeck Asset Management. We'd like to welcome him out.
Welcome, Frank.
Yes, thank you, Frank. Welcome.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Please have a seat.
Yes.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us today. We're really excited. You know, we've wanted to have Frank on. I know we've talked about Michelle and I for such a long time, and it's great to finally have you here on the show.
How do you like the set, Frank?
I love the set. It's very simple.
Right?
Very,
Simple?
very, yeah.
Yes.
I like who I'm on the set with.
Oh, thank you, Frank. That's what we wanted to
You're
hear.
going to make me blush, Frank, you know. But anyway, you know, you've been with us for just over a year now at this point, and talk to us about you. Talk to us about yourself. How did you end up with us here at Rhinebeck Asset Management?
Well, my career in this business, in this industry, started out as 18 years old. My dad had graduated from high school. On the weekends, I used to count stock certificates on Wall Street.
That's so cool.
Making $18 a day.
Wow.
And when I graduated, my dad gave me a $28 Timex watch. And you remember the ones that used to come in a classic plastic cases?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You may be too young.
They still
but
sell those at pharmacies. So
right, exactly,
I see them.
exactly. And he said, you had 2 weeks. And I said, 2 weeks for what? He said, you got to get a job or you got to get out of the house. So I was a quick learner. I started out as a messenger on Wall Street at 18 and kind of worked my way up on the New York Stock Exchange. I was a member of the New York Stock Exchange, one of 1,366. When it was prior to going public in 2006. Had been a member there, and then in 2006 transitioned over to the retail side, which really was really good for me, because after all those years commuting from Orange County, getting the opportunity to work with people and to really help them with their financial situations was really gratifying. It still is. So I absolutely love it. Where today, we work with our team of financial advisors. It really is a good place to be right now.
And you know, we talked a little off camera about working with a financial professional. You know, the days of you have a pension, you know, all the unknowns with Social Security. I mean, in a lot of cases, you're on your own as it relates to financial planning. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, that comes in many different facets. In a lot of cases, you have situations where a person's life can change on a dime, right? So you know, and in most of the cases, it involves money. So I always tell people, and when they ask, when should we get started, or when should I get started in saving and investing, and I say, anytime is a good time. So the purpose is the sooner the better. So better planning, because when those obligations come up, you need a source of money to, in most cases, to access.
You know, you were telling us a story off camera about a woman that you helped, and her family was in need. She was in a situation like this. Can you share that here?
Sure, absolutely. So many years ago, when I first came on the job with retail brokerage, we actually I had a woman that I worked with in an institution who really couldn't save. Basically, what came in went out, and unfortunately, when she came to me, she said, I really have nothing, but can you give me the hope that maybe there is something out there? So I said, absolutely. So I said, start in your 401k with 1% savings of your money. And she did. And every year when she got a raise, she took that 1% and made it 2% and then 3%. What she found was that what she wasn't seeing, she wasn't missing. I had met her several years later. She had retired from the bank, and several years later I met her in a line at ShopRite, and she had come up to me and she said, Frank, I don't know if you remember me, but you had given me some solid advice back in the day about saving. And I said, geez, I don't remember your name, so please forgive me. I said, but what was the outcome? And she said, well, my husband got very sick. And it really was the only source that we had to access to get money.
Just that one piece of education really went a long way for her.
Yeah.
Changed their family.
And it's a simple story, but so true. So, you know, it's the sooner the better, the earlier you get started, the better prepared you'll be later on in life.
Yeah, and I think the guidance is important too, because obviously there's a certain amount you want to put away, but how do you work with your clients on actually developing a plan to get them to different goals that they have?
Right, that's a good question. So basically what we do is here at Rhinebeck Asset Management, we're relationship builders. We want to know that it's not just going to be the transaction, it's going to be more of the relationship. So what that means is, in my business, the number one rule in my business is know your client. So what do we really know about our clients? We really should know the kids' names, the grandkids' names. We should know what their aspirations, what their needs are, what their wants are. What's really important to them, and how do we address that situation? What's their financial obligation? So it's kind of like building the profile on a macro level and then drilling down, focusing on the need, and then addressing the need with a financial solution.
I mean, that's got to, you know, your clients must feel good knowing that they have a plan in place. I mean, to a certain extent, finances, I think, cause anxiety for everybody.
Oh, God, yeah.
And having that plan in place can certainly take some of that weight off of your shoulders.
It's a level of safety, it's a level of security. It may not meet all your needs, but at least if you have something, it's, you know, the glass is half full, it's not half empty, so to speak. So in my eyes, it's really, you know, and like I say, any time is a good time to get started. Like I say, the sooner the better. People go through and have births.
Yes. And when you find out you're pregnant, you're like, how am I paying for this? And then,
do this.
right? And then we call Frank and say, we're going to be all right.
And you will be,
that's
Michelle.
right.
You will, for sure.
I have to ask one more thing, because I hear it all the time in the bank, and you know, I've known Frank for a little while now, and a great guy to work with on a one-on-one basis. You know, and one of the things I hear is, you know, I have somebody that I work with already, or I work with, you know, John or Jane or whoever it may be. Why is a good reason for these customers to now come say hello to Frank?
Well, because it rounds out the financial picture. So in most cases, people save, and they always save for a reason. They may say, well, the money is just there, I really don't need it. But people save for a reason. There's always something, whether it be retirement, maybe a medical issue, whatever the case may be. Maybe it's a college plan that they're looking to just give as a gift to their grandkid. There's always a reason. Knowing what that reason is actually focuses on where they should be. So in essence, sitting down with the client at the bank who may have nothing but CDs may be totally in the wrong investment for what they're looking to do down the road. So having the opportunity to talk to myself or one of my team will enable them to really take hold of the situation and kind of focus where they should be. I always said, identifying the need will give you the investment.
That's interesting. Great little tip. And actually, we have a couple other tips you'd like to share, right?
Ready to hear these tips.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So tell us.
Well, one of the most basic rules of money is the rule of 72, right? So basically what it is that it's a formula, it's an equation. So you start with the number 72, and if you're looking or you aspire to achieve a certain interest rate, you take that interest rate of, say, I don't know, maybe 1, 2, 3, or 6%, and you divide that into the number 72. What comes out of it is actually the number of years where it'll actually tell you you'll double your money in that period of time.
Wow.
Now, of course, it's a very simple equation. It doesn't factor in compounding interest or taxes or anything like that. But it gives you a good basis, a good guideline of where you want to be. And
So if I have $50,000 and I'm earning 1%, it's going to take me 72 years to get to $100,000.
You're a good banker.
Yeah, well, hopefully I can divide 72 by 1, you know, but
but just the equal side of that is if you had 6% as an average interest rate, divide that into 72. Come out with 12.
Suddenly you're doubling your money much more quickly.
Right, so you can see the difference, and that's why I say saving always plays a role in everybody's life, but investing also plays a role. One of the other things I wanted to say too is I get asked a lot, well, how do I get started? You know, what's a simple way of doing it? And I always say this, starting it is putting one foot in front of the other. So start with some of the simple things, like if you saved $5 a day, okay, and again, I'm gonna exaggerate this a little bit, but $5 a day. So what does that equate to? If you're drinking 2 cups of Starbucks coffee, okay, and you cut it down to 1, and you take that other $5 that you just paid for the cup of coffee and you put it in your pocket, right? And for the next 50 years, you saved that cup of coffee, and 50 years is a long period of time.
It is.
You'll wind up with almost $91,000 in the bank.
Perfect example, and I live that example. I bought a coffee every single morning on my way into work, and I stopped doing it. And I started making, a Keurig at home, and the amount of money I saved just by doing that, I mean, it was really tremendous. It adds up over time.
I like my Frappuccinos, Frank.
I know.
Make it at home,
No, I know.
But it's that simple. That's simple
Exactly.
at times,
Exactly.
There's another challenge out there now where people save, $1 a week, and every week they increase it $1. This is a great advantage for certain kids that are between the age of 13 and 18 years old, kids with paper routes, kids that work at the local McDonald's or Burger King. It's just an easy way to get them acclimated into saving. So you start with $1 the first week, and at the end of that week, you save $2 the second week. The third week, $3. And believe it or not, before that's over, they've accumulated over $1,300. So, for a young person just starting out, seeing that money grow just by saving, it doesn't include compounding interest or anything like that, but it's a way of getting them acclimated to start to save and then eventually maybe invest down the road.
We should do this 52-week challenge.
I think so too.
Should we give it a shot?
Yeah, let's do it. I want a $1,300 bucks.
Well, I mean, yeah, we could
Start it as a club in your office.
Yeah.
We do a 52-week, or we do some sort of weight loss challenge in the office. It'd be fun to do this as well.
And if somebody forgets to contribute one week, you have them double it.
That's a good idea.
All right, we're going to get this
Who's going
started.
to keep the money?
I'll take charge.
All right, Frank, all right.
Frank will manage the assets for us.
Yes, that's right.
It'd only be fair and only be right.
Frank, it was great talking to you today.
Yes.
Really, really excellent tips.
Yes, and thank you for everything.
Yeah, right.
And we are happy to finally have you, and we hope you come back again.
Yeah, absolutely,
Very soon.
absolutely.
Thanks so much, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
For joining us today.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Yes. Frank was a fantastic guest.
Really, really great guest. And those tips, that 52-week challenge.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Definitely. And I got to tell you, if you want to find out more about Rhinebeck Asset Management, go to rhinebeckassetmanagement.com. And you can find Frank's info right there. Give him a call. Have any questions? He'll be right there for you.
Happy Monday. We'll see you next week.
Yes. Bye.